Donald Trump says he's open to the idea of raising the minimum wage, but the presumptive GOP nominee has bigger plans to get the economy back on its feet. Watch him here.
What I'm really looking to do is get people great jobs so they make much more money than that, so they make more money than the $15.
I mean, isn't that what it should be about? He's got a point. I mean, it's a whole lot more than raising minimum wage. We need better jobs. We need better economic policies because small business owners say Obama's regulations are just killing them. Take a look at these numbers. 21% of small businesses say regulations and red tape, they are their biggest problems. I mean, why are we doing that to them? That number nearly doubled from when Obama first took office. Joining me right now, the CEO of CKE Restaurants, Andy Puzder. Also with me, former chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors, Austan Goolsbee. Good to see both you guys. Andy, you manage a whole lot of restaurants. You got a whole lot of people that are going to be affected there in California, which just raised its minimum wage to $15. Other states, of course, looking to do the same. How's that going to affect what you do? How will it affect your ability to run the business?
Well, over a period of time, it'll affect our franchisees who are really small business owners and own most of the restaurants. And it will raise labor costs to the point where the only way to deal with those increases is either, and marginally, profitable businesses will close. Some businesses may move out of state. If you're going to stay in business, you're going to increase your prices to the maximum amount you can. You're going to be more efficient with the labor you keep, and you're going to automate whatever positions you can automate. Now, I'm not opposed to raising the minimum wage rationally. I'm opposed to raising it to the point where lower skilled workers, working class Americans, young people, minorities are losing the jobs they need to get on the ladder of success. And I think $15 an hour does that.
So somewhere in between. I mean, you think that that's okay? I just wonder, I mean, if you're going to be sort of a full-on capitalist here, if you'd say, look, labor and those that employ labor need to come to their own agreement on wages. Austan, as an economist, and I know you're a liberal one, a former member of the economic team there in the White House under President Obama, how do you approach the minimum wage issue right now? What do you think?
Well, I think there's a massive amount of economic research about what's the impact of the minimum wage on the income distribution, on the job market, and things like that. And the unspoken fact that comes out of that research, unspoken by both sides, is the minimum wage does not seem to have very much of an employment effect, and it doesn't seem to have very much of an income distribution effect. It's a modest impact policy. It's why a lot of progressives try to advocate the minimum wage coupled with things like earned income tax credit or other factors, because they're trying to push the side that says it is a problem in the country when ordinary Americans do not have buying power and do not have income because demand is too low and
without
business
a doubt.
suffers.
But I don't know
so that is a problem too,
Austan, with the minimum wage.
We're kind of back and forth on those. We're kind of back and forth on both of those. But I think the minimum wage itself is a bit of a red herring because it's not big enough to move the needle
so we're in agreement.
In most of these things.
We're in agreement. The answer is you've got to have better economic policies and less regulations so that you can enable businesses to thrive.
If you're asking me, did I agree with Donald Trump? No, the 100% the opposite. I think Donald Trump's
what he said was
messed
actually
up.
not that controversial. What he said, Austan, was that he just wants us to do so much better than that. He wants us to do better in the country. Go ahead, Andy.
That's great. That's great. But you selectively chose only one snippet that sounded reasonable. If you give me 30 seconds, I can give you snippets that will make you hide under your bed for fear that we will be at war.
Hang on. I want to get Andy's side.
Hang on, let's go. Yeah, number one, there was a report that came out of the San Francisco Fed, not exactly a bastion of conservative economic thought. It came out in December. They analyzed all of the research, all of the studies, and said that, in fact, increasing the minimum wage materially reduced job opportunities for the least skilled workers. That was the important policy consideration because those are the workers it was supposed to help. So I disagree with Austan 100%. Second, what Donald Trump said was wages are too high, taxes are too high, costs are too high, pretty soon people are going to start firing workers. And whether or not there's some broad-based economic impact, what you're hurting here are working-class Americans, the least skilled workers who need the jobs the most. So maybe there's not enough of them for economists to get, all upset and all wrapped up. But I will tell you right now that when those people lose their jobs, they feel affected. And those are the Americans that Donald Trump's trying to help, and those are the Americans that Republicans are trying to help.
Yeah, I think we can all agree.
Among those people,
we want to help. We want to help those people. Go ahead, Austan.
Absolutely.
I would just ask, why are those people the strongest advocates of the minimum wage if they are the ones who are hurt?
Those people are not the strongest advocates of the minimum wage. There are people out there who are riled up by different special interests.
You know, Austan, if someone told you you were going to lose your job because your boss had to pay you more and you had a choice of keeping it and feeding your family or dealing with a higher minimum wage, my bet is you'd keep that job. Austan, Andrew, we've got to take a break. We're going to be right back. Thanks, guys.
All right.